What's up, guys? Matthew Morrow, MorrowInvest.com. So I wanted to tell you guys about what I did this weekend. I had a great time at the beach with three of my best guy friends. Just three of the most solid men you'll ever meet. They're godly, they're hardworking, they're smart, and man, I just had so much fun down at the Condo, down at the beach at the Gulf of Mexico, Panama City, Laguna Beach area. It's just a lot of fun. We ate way too much food. I completely blew my diet. Hope my trainer, Danny, if you're watching, I'm sorry. By the way, on my training, I'm down 26 pounds and from 286. So I've been working really hard. You know, you get complacent. You know, you get so used to your routine that change stinks. So I got a not so great doctor's visit, and they were like, Matthew, you've got to make some changes, and we're very serious about it, and I took it very seriously. And so I hired a trainer who was Mr. Georgia, I believe, Danny Kelly, out of the Atlanta area over in Georgia. He's awesome, and he's been helping me with my nutrition as well as working out and how to do exercises and all that kind of stuff. And so I got me a Planet Fitness membership. So if you're on my personal Facebook, or you might have seen it on Twitter or Instagram, I've been posting like crazy lately, and it's not a kind of like, hey, look at me kind of thing. It's more of a I'm just trying to help encourage other people that might be stuck in the same rut. I mean, you know, you go to work, you get off work, you fight through traffic, you finally get home, you know, it's 6:30, 7 o'clock, you got to get the kids fed and ready for school or ready for bed or whatever, and then you know, and then it's already 8:30 and you're ready to pass out because you've got to work again the next day. So that kind of leads me into, we don't have enough time in the day, and of course I believe in setting up passive income streams. You know, I've told you many times that I grew up in a really hardworking family that owned, my mom and grandmother owned Personal Touch Catering, and the whole family worked at one point or another for catering events. And if you've ever worked in a restaurant or catering environment, it is a ton of work. And so, I mean, you would think just standing up straight and serving sweet tea or something is not that big of a deal, but you're using muscles that you're not used to using, and you're on your feet constantly, and there's really no breaks. It's really like a 3 or 4 hour sprint, and then you get to crash. There's no like, I'm going to work for an hour and then take a 20-minute break, and you just can't do that when a party is going on. And so we learned to work really, really hard, but they did not learn, and the reason they did not learn this is they do not teach this in school. I have an accredited business degree, as I've mentioned several times, and I was a financial advisor, a licensed rep, a Securities and Exchange Commission rep with a Series 7 and 63 and insurance license, and those guys are not taught how to make money, okay? They are saying, this is the product we have, an IRA, a 401k, a rollover, an annuity, and this is what that thing does. But it's more like, as a financial advisor, you're more presenting to people, these are what your options are, not, hey, let me sell you something. It's not like that. I'm sure there's some salesman guys that do, but really you're meeting the needs of the customer. So if the customer comes to you and says, hey, I want, you know, to plan for a retirement, or I want to plan for my children to go to college or whatever, you take that information and you get their financial information and you build a plan on that. You don't really say, hey, I want, you know, this particular plan, and come in and just sell you something completely different. You know, most of the time that doesn't happen. Just what's best for the customer. In fact, if the customer wants something that you don't think you're supposed to sell them, you're supposed to say, there was a letter down there at the bottom that you had to check and say, look, I told them not to buy this. It was against my advice. Anyway, so I've always been about setting up passive income streams. I'm going to continue preaching that to you guys. So if you are watching my page, look, you know, 96, 97% of the people that go into retirement plan on making less money than they made while they were working. So I want you to look at what you're making right now. You're making $3,000 or $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, right? And you live a pretty comfortable middle class, upper middle class lifestyle for a lot of you. Okay, or even if you're a 2-income household, you guys are bringing in, $40,000, $50,000 or more. What are you going to do when that budget drops to $1,200? Like my mom, she gets Social Security. She gets about $1,000. Well, guess what her medicines are? Between her and my grandmother, it's over $1,000. Now, I'm just saying there's no money left. So if you do not plan on, living on less than you're making right now, considerably less, okay? And you can go and check with your financial advisor or your HR department, and you can say, hey, what kind of income should I expect off of my current participation in the retirement program, right? And they're going to be able to tell you. And it's an oblique picture. I want you to take into consideration, okay, my car is 5 years old, and when I retire, my car is going to be 15 years old. I'm going to be getting it where I need a new car. Hey, what about medical bills? What about if I ever want to take a vacation? What about any of that kind of stuff? You think you're going to retire and travel. Well, I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, we're going to travel the world when we retire. And then I'm like, how much do you have in your retirement? And they're like, $300,000. And I'm like, that's not going to take you very far. Not very far at all. That's why you see people having to go back to work, because they didn't do the plan now. So, I tell people that I'm retired, and my book says I'm retired. Well, what that means is that I don't have to go to a job every day. I have enough passive income set up from my rental properties and businesses that I've sold that I have enough money to pay for my daily expenses, which is really, really awesome. It's very much a blessing. But don't for a minute think that means that I'm going to stop. I love helping people, and so the more money that I can make and the more income streams I can create, every time I create, a $500 income stream, well, that's $6,000 a year, right? You create an $800 rental house, $800 income stream. That's $9,600 a year. It's nearly $10,000. So for most of you, if I said, hey, would you like a $10,000 raise? And they would say, yes, I would. And you make, $30,000. Well, $10,000 is a 33% increase in your income. So by setting up passive income streams, however that looks, like if you're selling Tupperware, or you're doing Pampered Chef, or you're doing Lip Sense, or Spark, or I'm going to miss a bunch, any kind of multi-level marketing thing where you're doing wrap, direct sellers, any of that stuff, right? You're setting up passive income streams. So yes, it's a little bit of work now, but let me tell you, so this condo that we went to this weekend, I posted, I have not made these public yet, but I posted them in our private investors group, which if you want to sign up for the private investors group, it's a kitchen table type discussion of what things we are doing on a daily basis, whether they be, investing in anything. It's not just real estate. It could be anything. Where we see major trends going, all that kind of good stuff. And I regularly post there. We do updates on properties that we've bought, that we're fixing, whatever. And because one of my best friends, who's also one of my team members, was able to buy a rental house, then he bought another rental house. Both of those have now been paid off. It has allowed him to now get this condo in Panama City, right? And it's just an amazing thing. It's such a good feeling when people listen to what you're saying. Now, I know a bunch of you guys will think, oh, it's get rich quick, it's too good to be true. None of those things are the case. It is actually a lot of hard work. And it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of eating a spoonful of peanut butter. It's having a banana for dinner. It's, having a can of tuna and beans, right? Having some rice. A bag of rice goes a long way, right? It's not going on dates. It's cutting your cable off. It's making those tires last a little while longer. It's all those sacrifice things you do that will allow you to live better. Now, I have a lot of people that will give me their advice, but I want to encourage you to try to only take advice from people that are doing better than you are. Now, I say that I'm only meaning that financially. if someone is more spiritual than you would go to someone that was wiser and ask for spiritual advice. If you wanted counseling advice from your marriage, right, you might go to somebody that's been married for 40 years and say, what do you guys do? How have you kept things going so well, right? Has it always been great, right? So if you want to do business and you want to set up passive income streams, maybe you should talk to somebody that sets up passive income streams, okay? That understands how banking works, that understands how taxes work. There's another thing. I got it on my list down here. If you guys are not maximizing your taxes, if you don't even know what's going on with your taxes, if all that confuses you, you need to get in the game. I'll say it again and slower. You need to get in the game, because the biggest expense that you guys have is taxes. Before you ever get your paycheck, a big old chunk comes out to pay for what? Taxes. I'll give you an instant. For instance, one of my businesses, because if they went up on, say, the poor, if they went up on the poor and they said we're going to raise the poor's tax by 5%, right there, people would go crazy, right? They'd go nuts in social media, on the news. How dare we can't go up on the poor people, right? So me, I'm upper middle class. They went up on my business privilege tax 700%. 700%. Why? Because I'm a business guy and can afford it. I can afford to pay that. My personal health insurance plan went from $108 to $550. A 500% increase. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I am not complaining. I hope that you guys do not get a negative vibe from what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is if my health insurance goes from $100 to $550, that's another rental property. That's over $6,000 a year. I have to create another income stream to pay for that. And that's what's so cool about passive income, right? So if you want to say, I'm going to start, I want a Porsche, right? Or Porsche, depending on which side of the country you're from. I want a BMW, I want this thing, or I want to live in this neighborhood, or I want this income stream. Then you just back into it. You figure out what it is you need to do to get there. So are you doing a multi-level marketing? Are you selling a bunch of Mary Kay? Are you doing lip scents? Are you doing jelly nails? Are you doing Mary Kay? Are you doing a side business? Like my cousin, who's a great friend of mine, best friend, he does electronic stuff. So he mounts TVs and runs cable wires, sets up security cameras, all that kind of cool stuff, right? So that's an extra gig that he does, right? Some of you guys are so stuck on that you deserve, I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. You're so stuck on, oh my gosh, I worked 40 hours this week. Guys, what in the world? What is wrong with you? 40 hours is nothing. I think, well, one, if you hate what you do, if you don't like what you do, yeah, 40 hours is probably death. You're like, oh my gosh, get me out of this office, get me out of this cubicle, get me away from these people. But if you love what you do, if you're excited about what you do, if you're pumped, like it's Monday, I hope you can hear the excitement in my voice. I get so excited about the potential of helping someone. Like that aha moment. Like if I can put content out there and anybody that's listening say, man, Matthew, you know what? Because of you, I went to my HR department and I had them to minimize the amount of federal and state taxes they're taking out. So I got me a $100 bump in my paycheck every week, right? Hey, Matthew, because of you, I didn't realize that giving money to my children was a tax deduction as a gift. Because I gave my daughter $5,000, this month. And because you told me I could write it off, I asked my tax accountant, hey, can I write off that $5,000 as a gift to my child? And they said, what? Yes. In fact, you could write off more if you wanted to give her more, right? I hope that because of the things that I talk about on this channel will encourage you to pull an 80-hour week, right? You want to make $800 a week? That is 80 hours at $10 an hour, right? It's just math, people. It's just math, okay? So you got to get to work. And if you can't do that with one job, do it with 2 jobs. Do it with 3 jobs. But don't blow your money on crap. So first off, don't blow your money on taxes if you can minimize your taxes. That's one. Remember, setting up your own business gives you tons of tax write-offs. Okay? Number 2, you got to get to work. You have to create income streams. And it might be that for a little while, little Johnny doesn't get to play baseball, or Becky doesn't get to have ballet practice, right? They're not going to die. Your 12-year-old doesn't have to have an iPad and a cell phone, and they'll be okay, I promise you. Let them go climb a tree. Let them go ride their bike. Give the kids a box and give them some markers and sit them inside a box. We used to create forts out of, in our den. We'd cover all the air conditioning vents and create this cool tent in our living room. Kids will be okay, I promise you. I haven't been all over the world, but I've been to some places that didn't have technology, and the kids were just as happy kicking a ball of trash that they're making into a ball. So believe me, your kids here in America, they'll be just fine. Okay, so let me tell you about a couple of things that are coming up. I have I've told you in multiple videos that one of the greatest things I've ever been to was the Get Motivated seminar. And my friend James Smith, with his company, James Smith, helped to put on this motivational seminar. And they would have all these different motivational speakers, national championship football winners. They had Nick Saban, they had Colin Powell, Rudy Giuliani, Barbara Bush, or it might have been Laura Bush, all those people, right? And then mixed in, they would have financial people talking about stock options or taxes, asset protection, mobile home parks, real estate, all that kind of stuff. And that's where I went. And I got introduced to them. And then, of course, there's a pitch. There was always a pitch. And we went to the 3-day weekend. And then that led me to do a full mentorship with them, which cost me $10,000. Now, a lot of you guys are already like, oh, I'm not paying $10,000. A lot of you won't pay $20 for a book. I started on this path by buying a book called No Money Down in the 2000s about how to retire in 10 years. And guess what? In about 10 years, from 26 to 36, I was able to hit cruise control. So if you want, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm a C student, guys. I'm average. I just happen to be good at math. But if you're not good at math, just put it on a sheet of paper and get a calculator. It's okay. We're not in school. You can cheat. It's okay. You can just go line by line if you need to, okay? You can get somebody to help you. You can put in an equation and Google will do it for you, okay? So, we're looking at putting on a free motivational seminar. I'm trying to figure out, I'm collecting information at the moment to see who all would want to come, how popular that might be, what type of speakers. Currently we have, it's all business people, but we'll have people talking about, kind of giving their testimonies. It might be spiritual, it might be financial. There'll be guys that share what they do. You might surprise some of you, what it takes to actually be successful in any given section of business, right? Remember, we talk about whether you're a plumber or a neurosurgeon. Well, there's a lot of jobs in between there. So, some of you guys might not think, well, I'm not really smart, I don't make a lot of money. Look, when I was like 6-7 years old, there was a Laotian family from Laos. Forgive me if I'm not saying that right, but from Laos. And they came over. The parents couldn't speak a lick of English. They each parent just ate rice, basically. They worked for 3 or 4 years, and within 3 or 4 years, bought and paid for cash a house. Paid for cash a house. Could not speak English. Okay, doing what? Washing dishes, cleaning people's houses, right? Low-end jobs that nobody seems to want. But yet they worked their tails off, and after just a few years, they were doing it. One of their daughters is a pharmacist now. He owns multiple, the father owns lots of real estate, a trailer park, lots of houses, lots of trailers, right? And he's living the American dream by doing what? Doing the things I'm telling you to do. Okay? So we're doing this motivational seminar. What we're going to do is we'll have people come up and speak, and they'll do like 30, 45 minutes. I'm trying to decide if this is going to be an all-day event or just like a after 5 p.m. to say like 8:30. Try to squeeze in as many, like maybe get people down to like 20 minutes each. Try to just squeeze in as many professionals as I can to give everybody an array of just a myriad of things that they can choose from, like a buffet of professionals, so they can figure out, yes, I would like to go to a 1-day or 2-day class that person's offering because I would like to know about that thing. We've got people that are lawyers, counselors, several doctors, people that are in real estate, people that are in event planning, the music industry. We have a guy that has made a ton of money detailing cars, doing that plastic film wrap on Porsches and Ferraris and stuff. Really, really cool. And so we're getting more and more people. If you're interested and you want to be a part of this event, please message me, and we can iron out some details and see if you're right for this event. If you want to come to the event, please RSVP. We have not set a date yet. I'm trying to do it maybe first week of October, somewhere in there, on an off night, like a Monday or a Tuesday. So it's not a weekend where you're competing with other events. And we would love to have you. It's going to be exciting. Let me see what else. I've got 2 e-recycle events this week. It's my little side ministry where I recycle phones and computers and stuff, give the money to charity. That's one of the great things we get to do when you have your income set up. You can do charity work. So it's very exciting. I don't do that to toot my own horn or anything. I'm just saying that if your bills are paid, which is another thing, I've told you to get your taxes right. I've told you to create multiple income streams. If you only have one income, you're losing the game, guys. You got to have multiple streams of income, because if you lose that income, if you lose that teaching job, if you lose that factory job, if you get fired or laid off, like I have been twice, that's gone. That income stream is gone. So you need to have multiple income streams set up. You need to maximize your tax deductions. And then lastly, you need to not have any debt. So a lot of you guys are like, well, I need a car. I need a reliable car for my kids. You know what? Some of you guys just make excuses. Well, I've almost got the wave runner paid off. Some of you are not willing. I'm just going to be straight here. Just tell you. Hope I don't get a bunch of unfollows for this, but so be it. Some of you are not willing to do without now so that you can do better later. It would kill you to not drive your BMW, Lexus, Mercedes, whatever. Like, to get an old 20-year-old Toyota Corolla would just kill you. To shop at Walmart for a couple of months instead of shopping at somewhere else. I don't know where. But minimizing your housing costs, not living in that neighborhood, right, would kill some of you, right? You can't do without your timeshare, lake, house, condo, boat, wave runner, multiple cars. Oh, well, that's my everyday driver, and that's my weekend driver, and that's our camper that we pay for sitting in storage, right? You're so worried about losing stuff and keeping everything that you got right now that you are working and working and working and working just to pay those bills, right? Whereas it would be much better for you to have money in the bank, maximize taxes, have your multiple income streams, right? And then you have options. It gives you options. You can travel. You can do whatever. And let me tell you, you're going to get a lot better deal walking into a place buying cash than you're ever going to get, trying to get a bank to give you money, right? They're going to have to go through underwriters, and it's a whole process. I had a friend the other day tell me that he had a 775 credit score. He has $300,000 or $400,000 worth of assets. Has done like 18, 20 loans in a row from this particular bank. Has been at this bank like 20 plus years, and he wanted $10,000 to put back into one of his houses, and the guy said, we can't do it. We can't give you the loan. Now, this guy makes over $100,000 a year, has multiple income streams, $400,000 in assets. He's on his third house, right? 2 of the houses are paid for, and he wants to take equity out of one of the houses that's paid for. And because it's a rental, they will not give him any equity off of it. But they said, oh, but you have that van. We can refinance a van easy, right? So, guys, anyway, I hope you guys get excited about something. I know some of you, football season is about to happen. I'm here in the South, so, SEC Media Days and all the hype that's around football in the SEC, it's like worshiping. They're going to the temple to worship, at the altar of football. So, I enjoy watching a game every now and then, but it is certainly not an idol for me. And I just pray that you guys will get in the game, that you will seek out someone that knows more than you do. And I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just saying that if I don't know it, I can connect you to somebody that does. Okay? So, whether you want to learn how to publish a book, you want to learn how to maximize your taxes, you want to learn how to maximize your income, your productivity, how to set up automations, all kinds of things, social media, all that stuff, guys, I can help you with that. I hope you'll look at, obviously, my site that I'm on right now, MorrowInvest.com. Subscribe to me to whatever social media you prefer, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on all of those as Morrow Invest. And let me know if I can help you guys. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. We can still do deals together. We can still work together. You can be in part of the investment group. You can sign up for that on the website. If you want to do a mentorship, those currently are $2,000 a piece, and I only have 4 slots available right now. So our next 2-day training course, which will have our boots on the ground, where we actually drive around and look at properties, as well as me talking for about 16 hours, plus a 30-day training course online, multiple workbooks, all the information, and then continuing education that continues on for the life for free, right? You'll always be a part of that investment group, and you'll have access to the mentorship docs unlimited, okay? So it's well worth $2,000. I've talked to several people recently that are quickly going to make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 mistakes, and they would have done much better to spend $2,000 to learn to avoid those mistakes. So, guys, I hope that you'll pay for a mentor. Find somebody you trust. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Of course, this video has gone way too long. I can't help myself. Hope you guys have an awesome day.